Thank you guys for coming. And I'm doing this by myself, so I'll try and keep an eye on the chat as I go, but I will be answering any questions you have at the end. If I see them while I'm presenting, I'll answer them, but I will definitely get to questions at the end. And before I get too far into it, I don't know if you know much about me. My name is Claudia Lowens, and I am the founder of WordFlirt. I've been doing digital marketing for, oh gosh, like close to 20 years now. I used to be a high-tech recruiter in Silicon Valley, and I started using LinkedIn as a recruiter back in, I think, like 2005 or 2004, whenever they first came out. I was kind of one of the early adopters of it. And just over time, when it came time for me to leave recruiting, because I got crispy burnt out, I built my business using LinkedIn. And then I started helping my clients use LinkedIn to build their businesses, coupled with the other things I'm going to show you today. I'm also a published author. I've authored 3 books on Amazon, and I'm working on a fourth. So hopefully that'll get done this year. I'm married and have 4 daughters and a very aloof kitty cat named Sylvester. Oh, and I'm about to be a grandmother. So we are expecting our first grandchild, our grandson, in like the next week. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, enough about me. What I'd like to just tell you that we're going to be going over today is the exact system that I've been using to help my clients grow their business. It's something that I developed over many years of kind of trial and error to figure out how we can best help grow using digital marketing, because everybody knows the traditional face-to-face networking presentations and direct mail like you're doing, Bob, and that type of thing. But really, there's a great opportunity in the digital world. And so I think that if you haven't been doing it, now would be a great time to start. It's never too late. So a lot of what you do for marketing in general is in person. I understand that you probably get referrals from previous borrowers and friends and maybe adult children that know you do what you do. And so what I'm going to tell you today or show you is exactly how you can expand on that by using digital marketing with my 3 tiers. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get my presentation up. I'll share the screen here and get myself organized. Okay, so the 3 steps we're going to talk about today are intended to help you help more seniors. Obviously, that's an important part of your mission, to strengthen your referral base, and hopefully that will last you for years to come, and you can only build on it from there. We want you to close more loans and, of course, to make more money and make your business thrive. So that's what I'm here to help you do today. This is based on, I think it's probably more than 12 years now at this point that I've been focusing on helping reverse mortgage loan officers get more business. I became passionate about this because when I learned about them through my first client, I had never heard of them, honestly. And I discovered what it was and learned more about it. And as I was helping her with her marketing, learned all the myths and facts and stuff. And I wish I'd known about it in 2008 when my parents had struggled and ended up losing their home. So I'm passionate about it. I think you guys help a lot of people, and I would love to help you help more people. All right, so this is what we do. My team, we do this exact strategy for our reverse mortgage professionals. It's a 3-tier strategy based on 3 pillars of growth. The very first pillar is LinkedIn, and I call it LinkedIn Growth and Nurture. And what that means is that we connect you with people on LinkedIn that could be potential referral partners. If you think about it, pretty much everybody on LinkedIn could be a potential client, whether they're an adult child of an aging parent or they're actually a senior themselves that could use it. Maybe they're thinking about retiring, or they are referral partners. For our purpose, we use LinkedIn to connect you with referral partners. And those are typically financial planners, realtors, CPAs, estate attorneys, anybody who is focused on the retirement community. And we send connection requests. And then when they accept, we have a follow-up messaging sequence. And all of this happens inside your LinkedIn account. And we set all of that up and we use automation for that. The second pillar is to post content. So if you post regularly, I'll explain why it's important, but also you're going to be building trust and likability and showcase your expertise. We believe in posting on a regular basis on any of the social media platforms. You don't have to be on all of them all at once, because I know that's a lot. With the right tools, you can. If you select a couple of them and really post regularly, that would help a lot for the second pillar of growth. And then the third is we like to take the relationship off of LinkedIn and social media and do a regular monthly newsletter. And we've had clients say that this really has taken them over the top whenever they send out the newsletter, because not everybody's on LinkedIn every day like me. And not everybody looks at Facebook to see your content. So a monthly newsletter is a nice way to reach them in their email, where people are still definitely reading emails on a daily basis. So if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, I'm going to explain why. It's really the only business social network. There are a couple of others, like Alignable is one of them, but that's very hyper local. But the way I look at LinkedIn is it's like a chamber of commerce mixer, but instead of having, 40 people in the room, you have millions of members that you can reach out to. So if you're in one state, you're licensed in one state, then you have the whole state available to you on LinkedIn, or multiple states, you have multiple states. So it's attitude of networking like the Chamber of Commerce, but digitally and with millions of members. The people that are on there are primarily educated business professionals. And so they're there knowing they're networking. They know they're open to business. They're looking for opportunities. They're looking for people that they can help build their business or their careers. And so that's why they're there. They're not there for the social aspect of other social media platforms. They're there for the social aspect of business. And 80% of business to business marketing comes from LinkedIn. And I can attest to that because that's about the percentage that I have used LinkedIn to grow my own business over the years. And so people are out there, like I mentioned, they're ready to network and they're open. And so 80% of those marketing leads that are from digital marketing usually come through LinkedIn. And then if you have a website and you're using social media, if you compare all of the different social platforms, 40% of the people that come to your website have come from LinkedIn. So the way I look at it is it's an excellent social selling platform. So this is kind of the step-by-step guide to what I do to help with this LinkedIn growth and nurture, the first pillar. So first is I use Sales Navigator as recommended. I can create and save very targeted searches of 1,000 or more target folks that we can then base it on the demographics that you're looking for. So if you want to focus on realtors, for example, then we can do a targeted search for realtors within your geographical area. They can be considered like a second level or third level connection. And the purpose of that will be to send them connection requests. And then what we do is we pull those searches into our software, the automation that we use, and then we create and send custom connection requests. And what that is you use the tool to set up the steps in your connection request process. So you write out a script and then you write out separate follow-up messages. And so once they accept your connection request, then they get the first follow-up message, and you create a series of these depending on what you're trying to do that will continue to kind of nurture that relationship. And I'm excited to learn more about the fact that they now offer voice and video options. I have not tried that yet. I will be testing it in the next few weeks, but I think it's super cool that you could potentially send a voice message to someone's LinkedIn inbox and they will hear your voice or see your face. So that's really cool. And then, like I said, we have follow-up messages. At first, we're a little bit soft in our pitch, but we do have a call to action. So it might be something like, I love to get to know my new LinkedIn connections. Shall we set up a quick 15-minute get to know each other call and see if there's any synergy? So there's different ways that you can do a call to action. But at first, we don't want to just be like, hi, thanks for connecting. Let me have all your clients. We want to follow an etiquette with LinkedIn. Otherwise, you'll turn people off. So we craft these messages carefully, and we work with our clients to make sure that they feel like it sounds like them and that they're comfortable with whatever we're saying on their behalf. In addition to the connect and the nurturing side of things, we also have the ability to use our software to automate things that could be sent to our first level connections. For example, we can endorse them. We can set automation up to endorse them, to look at their profile. We can send birthday and anniversary greetings automatically. We can send messages for special events or videos or things that you want the people that you're already connected to see. So say, for example, you're hosting a webinar for financial advisors and you want to send a message to all of your financial advisors. I mean, you could definitely post it, and I would recommend you posting it, but you can also set up a campaign in the software to message them if you have enough advanced time to do that. You can say, hey, I'm hosting this webinar. Here's the link to sign up, and whatever other information you would like to share with them. So it's a really powerful way to do kind of mass communication without appearing spammy, and it goes directly into their personal inbox. And like I mentioned earlier, I highly recommend using Sales Navigator. You get more search results per search. You get to save your searches. You also can fine tune the search parameters, which there are some search filters that are not available in the free version. You can use the free version, and I'm not going to, say you have to buy Sales Navigator, but if you have Sales Navigator, I find it's just so much easier and better, frankly. So here are a few testimonials of what some of my clients are saying. This is one who was getting on a regular basis 1 to 3 referral partners, meaning they had 1 to 3 phone calls or Zoom meetings with them per week. And then we were also growing their list, because once we have their connection inside LinkedIn, we're able to pull them over into their email. Greg is not a reverse mortgage loan officer, but he's an entrepreneur with like 5 different businesses. And I helped him max out his connections at 30K. And I continue to do messaging sequences for him using my automation. And then Robert just messaged me one day and said he closed his second, which was really awesome. And it is based on this 3-tier marketing strategy. And then finally, Lori, who was my client for many, many years. Unfortunately, I'm sad to say she passed, but she said a couple of years ago that she took 19 applications from the LinkedIn referral partners and led to 9 closed loans in that year. And we were the only ones that were doing any marketing for her. Okay, so next pillar is to post content. And if you're wondering why, because a lot of people say, oh, content kings don't exist anymore, or content's dead. I disagree. I think it should be regular practice to post on a regular basis. And content is important because it builds trust and familiarity with you. It shows what you know, your authority and knowledge, and it makes your profile more searchable. So what that means is SEO and SMO. SEO is search engine optimization, if you're not already familiar with that. And that's usually web-based searches that lead to people's websites. They do lead to LinkedIn profiles as well. SMO is social media optimization, which means that the more you post inside your pages, the more you come up in searches on those pages. So for example, if you're active on LinkedIn all the time, then if somebody searches for a reverse mortgage loan officer in whatever city you're in on LinkedIn, then you're likely to come at the top of those searches inside LinkedIn. So that's social media optimization. And it is really applicable to all the social pages and often called the algorithm. Okay, so you're making your algorithm work for you when you post more on a regular basis. So if you're not sure what to post and you open up your computer and you just kind of freeze because you don't know what to say, here are some ideas of what we post for our clients. So anything that is on your website, if you have a website, I highly recommend you have a website. If you have a website, then any articles, your FAQ page, any testimonials, videos, and anything else that you have on your website. If you blog on a regular basis, that's a great thing to share, and you can share it multiple times. So you can go back and reshare something that you shared a couple months before or something like that. So you're constantly having a flow of content if you blog. But if you don't blog and you do have a website, then having pages like what is a reverse mortgage, maybe that's a page on your website, then you can post the link to that and write a caption, and then that'll get people to your website. I love getting people to your website as much as possible because first of all, that indicates their interest, and it's also a higher percentage chance of you getting a lead from it. So having a website is really important, and a lot of people rely on the company websites. Like if you have a page on your main company's website, that's fine too, but it gives you a little less to work with. And then I like to post things, especially on the consumer related sites like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I like to post things that would appeal to senior audience. And so things like aging health tips, quotes, anything related to retirement and the aging lifestyle, aging at home, anything that they would be interested in that would keep their attention and start to think of you as somebody that they like. Basically, they like you because you're talking their language and you're sharing things that are of interest to them. You're not just self-promoting. So that's one aspect of content. Financial facts and statistics, those are really good for LinkedIn. They're also good for Facebook and Instagram, of course, because they're going to appeal to a wider audience. So a lot of the senior potential clients would be interested in these things, but also financial advisors, realtors, and your business referral partners. They are interested in this type of information. And then you can link to other sites. So if there's a cool article on HeckMWorld or a blog on HeckMWorld, I love those guys, or NRMLA, or anybody that's a non-competitor, like maybe there's a magazine that has a great article about what to eat in retirement. I don't know, I'm just making it up. If you find something out there that you want to share, linking to other sites that are not competitors is definitely a nice thing to share. And then I don't know about you, but I'm like a kind of quote junkie. I love fun quotes. I love motivational quotes. I love when somebody has a prompt, an anecdotal prompt, like, quick, what's the last picture you have of your cat? Post it here. Those kind of prompts and things like that. So those are some fun things that you can post. And you can do it mostly on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. But if you're doing a quote, I would do something that's a little bit more serious on LinkedIn as opposed to, like don't show me your cat video or whatever that is. I would not post that kind of stuff. I would make sure that you're appealing to the more professional crowd. So here are a few post examples. I have 2 slides on this. And so these are a few different ideas of what you can post, like the 4 ways to use a reverse mortgage. If you used our template, then you can actually change any of those bubbles for whatever you would like to recommend they can use the reverse mortgage for. You can use it multiple times and do a couple different versions of it and post them at different times. And then on the right, did you know, that's a trivia kind of fact. And then same thing with how much do we need at the bottom. And then here are more post examples. So the one on the left, this is an aging quote. This is something I would post on any of the social pages. Actually, all of these are. I would put these on LinkedIn or on any of the social media pages. You've got senior health fact, healthy retirement, retirement fact, and baby boomer fact. These are just some examples. There's a lot of other possible things that you could post, but these are just to kind of get your juices going a little bit. And I'll tell you, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit later about my boot camp and my mortgage marketing vault. And if you decide that you're interested in one of those, we have all of the posts that we've pretty much ever created inside the vault, and we add to it every month, and you get free access to that if you join the boot camp. But I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so now let's talk about the monthly newsletter. And again, like I mentioned earlier, I have clients that tell me this is the only marketing that we do for them, because we do have a service where we just do a monthly newsletter, and they love it. Their clients love it, and they get leads from it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But here are some potential topics to include in a monthly newsletter. And we use MailChimp. MailChimp is just an email service provider. And you can go in and create templates, and you can segment your audience and send some emails or newsletters to your whole list, or you can separate out just financial advisors or just consumers. Like, you have the ability to create your email lists however you want. And we design inside MailChimp because it's easy and it's affordable for our clients to pay for. And I just think it's a great tool. So that's where we build them. Some of the things you could include would be links to articles on your website, which I always think is a great idea. If you have a YouTube channel or a video you want to share, That's good to put in your newsletter. You can link to articles like we mentioned in social media posting, like NRMLA or Reverse Mortgage Daily, or a company website. Like if you don't have your own website, but your company does, then you can link to that. Testimonial graphic is always nice. It's great social proof for you and what you do for your clients. I like to include a retirement fact or quote or infographic or something that is related to retirement or the reverse mortgage itself. And a lot of my clients like to include a seasonal recipe for the month or a cocktail recipe or both. I have one that loves to do both. And then it's nice to link to local interests. So if you have certain things that are happening in your neck of the woods that you want to share, then this is a really nice feature for people that are reading the newsletter. So it could be an art and wine festival, or it could be a nonprofit fundraiser, or a special nonprofit that you support, or anything locally that you think your audience would like. It's nice to include something like that in your newsletter. And then I always have a short article, and usually with a graphic, and it's based on whatever the theme is of the month. So for example, September is Fall Prevention Awareness Month. And so how to avoid falling is a good article to put in your September newsletter. If it's the summertime, then you could do tips for traveling in an RV. So what we do is we write those articles as part of the monthly newsletter. And these are usually related to seniors, not necessarily the reverse mortgage. And then if you have a calendar, there are free calendars out there, like Calendly has a free version. Then you can link to your calendar inside of your newsletter. And if you have an FAQ page or a video that answers questions, then you can link to that. If I have a client who doesn't have an FAQ page, then I will still add this section just to say, if you have questions, then reach out to me, and it will be a link to either send them an email or a phone number or something with a call to action. It doesn't necessarily have to be an FAQ page, but that is kind of ideal. All right, so what I'd like to do is hop off for a second and show you guys two samples of newsletters that I have for you. Okay, so here, let me go back to the top. This is my dear friend, Linda Weiler. She is the first person that I ever did any marketing for. Her list on an email is now over 30,000 people, and she gets many leads immediately upon sending out her newsletter. So we've built this for a long time. I wouldn't want you to have the expectation that you're going to get 20 leads in the first week of sending your newsletter every month. It's fairly typical of her to get phone calls like that. But if you build it, then you're building yourself an asset, and it will grow over time, and it will deliver if it doesn't deliver right out of the gate. Okay, so here's just this was the fall theme that we started with. So harvesting home equity. And we usually have some sort of theme-based photo at the top. And then we have like an introduction to what this has to do with the theme. And then the call to action for financial advisors and realtors. Her phone number is right there, big and bold. And then we tell them what to expect during the newsletter. So here, right here, it says, in this month's newsletter, I share an article on my blog. And then it goes on to say what else they'll be seeing in the rest of the newsletter. And then we like to do a fun little signature graphic. We've got a little disclaimer here that we put on pretty much everything, it seems like. And then if you scroll down, she's in the Bay Area. So there is a Los Gatos Art and Wine Festival. So we put this in here. We have a short article that leads to the article on her website. She has a website that I recently designed for her, and I've been blogging for her. Now we have things in her newsletter that we can point to send people to her website. Here is National Healthy Aging Month. This is one of the articles I mentioned. This is a full article here. It's short. It doesn't have some place to click through to. It's just information for the reader. Here is a testimonial for her. And again, you can see that throughout the newsletter, we have the fall theme for this September newsletter. We have a link to her website where people can read more testimonials. We have those embedded on her website. And then she is the one that loves to have a cocktail recipe and a food recipe. So the first one here is apple pie bourbon shots, and it has kind of that fall vibe since it's apple season. You got the ingredients and everything. And then we break it up with Tucker. Linda has like 4 dogs. She's an absolute animal lover. And so we created this little corner in her website called Tucker Talks. And this one is for when you need a little support. There's always something that we refer to that's theme based on animals. So in this case, it's pet assisted therapy services that's local. And then they can click through to read more about that. And then here is the food recipe, buffalo chicken meatballs. And it's kind of related to the fact that football season just started. Her husband's a major sports fan, so she loves stuff like this. And then here is the FAQ section that I mentioned earlier. So we usually change out the graphics so that it's related to the season or the theme for the month. And then we have a link to her FAQ page. And so they can go and look at all of her FAQs, and it's also got myths and facts on that page. And then we have a little signature, and we've got her information and the compliance pieces and her socials. So that's one of them. That's the longest one we do every month because she wants everything. It's a real reflection of her just wonderful, sparkly, lovely personality, and her audience loves it. I'm going to show you one that's a little bit different. And this is, we don't have a website for Susie. So this is going to be one showing you if you don't have a website. And so here, this was in the beginning of summer or July. And so we have this July colors. We've got the initial image at the top of the newsletter and her information, what we're going to go over, and her signature. And here is a recipe that was yummy for July or anytime, really, and the ingredients and all of that. And then here is just a short article that we wrote for her that would be, kind of a frequently asked question because she doesn't have that on her website. So we try to answer some of the questions each time that we send the newsletter for her. Here's a testimonial for her. And again, this is kind of the summer theme with the beach background. And here is the consumer-based article that we wrote, which is the UV Safety Month. And we just have a little bit of how to stay safe in the sun type of thing. And then we've got the grilled pizzas, which are delicious. So, but this is a recipe. And then here it's another article because we were trying to add a little bit more content, but since we didn't have anything for her website, she doesn't have a website. So here's another little short article about getting lost in a good book. And then as you can see, we don't have a link to her website for the FAQ section on this example. So we have a call to action, which is with her phone number and a link to email her. And then we have all of the compliance stuff here too. Okay, so those are the two. I'm going to stop for 1 minute while I get my PowerPoint up again and just say, do you have any other questions at this point? Okay, so before I go into newsletter testimonials, I want to show you my mortgage marketing vault, which I referred to a little bit earlier. This is something I put together. It took a very long time, and it's pretty much all the content that you could need to get your marketing done. Everything that we talked about today is available here inside the marketing vault. This is like the first login page when you get in, and you can see we have all these different categories. We have senior lifestyle posts, educational posts, infographics, promotional posts. We do have content in here for traditional or forward mortgage loan officers. And then we have some kind of fun posts like inspirational or seasonal humor. Those are different posts. I'll show you some examples in a minute. We have articles, and the articles come in short and long form. So you can either just post an article on your website as a vlog, or you can use one of the shorter articles in the newsletter like I just showed you. We've got some videos that we've created, printables. We got all the content you need for the newsletter. And then we have a training page, which actually you can go to the training page without being a member if you wanted to look at how this is all set up. So really quickly, I'm just going to show you as an example of what we have for the social media posts. So we'll go to infographics, and you can see here there are some images, and you have the ability to just download the image. You click on ready to share the image and you save it to your desktop or your computer. And then you can copy and paste the caption if you're not sure what to write with it. And then you can post it directly on your social pages. So that's one example. And we've got a number of those. And then we have educational posts. And here you can actually customize them. So you can use the ready to share image exactly as it looks here, or you can click through to the Canva template and edit it. So maybe you don't like this purpley color, you'd rather have, like a dark blue or something, then you can use the Canva template to edit it and then, post it with the caption or create your own caption. So you can kind of see what we offer here. And then in articles, these are the long and short version. We've got reverse and we have forward mortgage articles. And really, as a reverse loan officer, you can use all the forward ones. They would be applicable to you too. And then over here on videos, we've created a few informational videos that you can share. They're typically under a minute, so they're good for social media. This is the one that my clients like the best. And basically, it's everything you need to create a newsletter like I just showed you. So you've got September's content. Here are some theme ideas of what you could say for the theme. I have colors that I recommend that you can put together to change the colors and theme for that month, whatever that is. And then I have the top image, as I showed you. In each of those, we have a top image. So here are some that you can just download the image and use as that top image. I have signature graphics that you can make with your own name. You just go to, I gotta take this off. I don't know why it's on here twice. But you can open the signature template and then edit it out with your name and make sure you save it as a GIF so that it looks like this when it's on your newsletter. And then these are the 2-month infographics that we have. So one is for reverse and one is for forward, although I have used the saving tip or money saving tips in other ways for other clients in reverse too. And then here is a article that you can use in your newsletter. Like I mentioned before, we have the ones under the articles, but each month we'll have one that is specific for that month. So the theme was for Fall Awareness Month. And then it's also National Self-Improvement Month. So it's another short article that you can put in your newsletter. And then we have Apple related, fall related recipe and a fall related cocktail. And then if you have testimonials you want to include, then here are 2 for the month that match the theme. And you just go to the Canva template and paste in your client's testimonial and their name, and then you can save it and use it in your newsletter. And then last, we have 2 question graphics that you can choose from to put in your FAQ section on your newsletter. Okay, so that I just wanted to show you what that is. Basically, this is monthly membership, but we're now going to go talk about my boot camp. And if you join the boot camp, then you get access to all of this for an entire year for free, included in the boot camp. So let's go back. Again, any questions? I know I'm going quickly. Okay, so just to summarize, the 3 pillars of growth that are involved in my 3-tier marketing strategy are LinkedIn growth and nurture, posting content on a regular basis, and a monthly newsletter. And so I know I just like fire hosed you guys, but if you're wondering, like, how do I even do all of this, then that's where the boot camp comes in. Okay, I have a marketing boot camp. It's called Marketing Momentum Boot Camp. And inside of it, I will be going over every single thing. Oops, not January 9th. Sorry, I forgot to edit that one. It's starting in October. It's every single thing that I just talked about today. It's every step, every template, every message, every tool that I use to do exactly the 3-tier marketing strategy. It's 6 weeks. You have immediate access when you sign up. 6 weeks of live Zoom Q&A calls. For 6 weeks, once a week, I'll get on Zoom and you can pick my brain. You can have me review your content. You can have me review your LinkedIn profile. That time is for you. And that's 6 weeks of that. And also there's a section in there that teaches you how to use a virtual assistant to do the whole system for you once you set it up. So you probably need to set it up yourself, But once it's set up, then you could have a virtual assistant do it for you for probably $6 to $10 an hour. And I will show you all the tools, not only what they are, but how to use them and demonstrate how I apply them. And here is a kind of outline of the bootcamp. So the first week is Perfect Profile Method. This is a class that I developed before I developed the bootcamp. So you go through that to make sure that your LinkedIn is looking the way you want it to look and optimizing it. If you already feel comfortable and you like your LinkedIn profile, you can skip this. It's definitely for people that are wanting to make their profile better, or they don't really have anything on their profile at all. In the second week, we'll learn the automation tool that I use and how to set it all up. And that's the whole LinkedIn growth engine that comes with training, with the tools, my templates, what to message, and all of that. That's in week 2, so that you should be up and running on LinkedIn. And then week 3 is when we go to create content. And so I'm going to be teaching you how to create content, how to use AI to create content, and basically how to automate it and use the Marketing Vault too. Week 4 is setting up your MailChimp account. So this is just like kind of the setup phase of MailChimp and how to get your emails out, or, cleaned and import them, and all of that stuff. And then the next week, the 5th week, is when you actually create and send your first newsletter. And hopefully it will be fast and easy, because you'll have access to our Marketing Vault with all the content for that month. And that should make it go very quickly. You'll also have a template that you can just click on the template. It opens in your MailChimp, and then you just replace all the content with each of the pieces from the Marketing Vault. So hopefully your newsletters will become easy to create quickly. And again, you can hire a virtual assistant for that. And then the last week, it's kind of more like overall strategy and extras. So how do you analyze your success at that point? How do you make it better? How do you teach a virtual assistant? What's your action plan? All of that stuff. So it's kind of putting it all together. The real meat of the boot camp is week 1 through 5. And that's a great time to jump on the Zoom calls to get your questions answered as you're working through each aspect of those weeks. And then week 6, we can just, wrap it up and talk about what's next. And that's all inside of the boot camp course. I also have bonuses. The first one I already mentioned, you get a whole year access to Mortgage Marketing Vault for included in your boot camp membership. And that's all the content. Pretty much everything we talked about today is available in the Marketing Vault. You can use that and apply it to everything I'm teaching inside the bootcamp. We'll have the Q&A calls, and you'll always have access to the Facebook community. If you would like to join that, you'll get an invitation for that. And how to run LinkedIn ads. If you have a special event or something that you would like to promote besides just using the messaging tool and posting, I'll have a short version of how to run LinkedIn ads. It's very basic, because like Facebook, it's kind of complicated, but it should be enough to get you a good ad going for whatever you're trying to do, if you'd like to do that. And then opt-in pages are things you put on your website or you share that will help you grow your email list. I can show you how to do that using MailChimp. And there's a quick Canva course and instructions for how to edit the graphics, all the graphics that we are including in the vault, or anytime you want to create a graphic, then there's a short course inside as a bonus, how to use Canva. And then cold email is another way to reach more referral partners. There's a short course on that. And then how to use AI for content. This is one of my favorite things, and it makes life very easy. And there you'll get some instruction on how to do that. All right, how am I doing on time? Oh, okay, we got about 15 minutes, maybe less. Okay, so if you put together like the class and the bonuses, then it's really valued at $8,000. I'm not going to do the cheesy sales thing and say, but you're not going to pay that today. I'm just going to be frank and tell you what it costs. Okay, so you got to think about, what would it mean to you if you develop one referral partner and they feed you clients on a regular basis? That alone, how much is that worth to your business? I really feel like that's something to look at, because these referral partners, if you do a good job with their clients, they'll keep coming back to you. And I'm sure a lot of you know this already with some of the other referral partners that you have. But if you wanted to grow that, then it could really impact your business. So be thinking about that. And basically, it's a one-time payment of $9.97. The price is, this is an early bird price because it's going up as of October 3rd, I believe it is. And it'll be going up to $12.97 because I also have some new things I'm going to be adding inside of the boot camp. And what it is all the course materials, lifetime community, and lifetime access to the course of the boot camp, of course. So you can come back at any time. And then 12 months access to the marketing vault. And sometimes that one-time payment might be a little much. So I have an option to break it down into two payments of $5.99. Actually, it should be $4.99. Sorry, again, I didn't edit it correctly. It should be $4.99. So two payments of $4.99. If you go to the link, you'll see that it says $4.99. And that, again, is the same exact access as if you paid one time, and you don't get any sort of penalty for paying in two payments. It's the same amount. And if you just think all of this is too much, it's not anything that you would be interested in doing yourself or getting a virtual assistant up and running, then I do have an option to do it for you like I do with my other clients. And that's a special price of $9.97 a month also. Basically, everything I told you today, we would do for you. And you would still have access to everything. You could still get into the vault. You could still do the, your own stuff and watch all the coursework and everything. All right, so where to sign up? If you were interested in this, you go to mmmbootcamp.com. And we're going to have a live kickoff in October. So what are the costs for the other tools? Okay, that is something that is definitely something you want to consider, because even after you learn everything to implement it, there are some additional costs. And so one of them would be to use an automation tool. I review two of the tools and show you how to use two of the different tools that I've used that I like inside the boot camp. And so you can choose, but they're between $59 and $99 a month for the automation. It will save your life. It does so much, and it is a great tool, and I think it's worth every penny. And then LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you don't have to have it like I mentioned before, but if you do, it makes it so much better and richer. They recently raised their prices to $119.99 per month. If you pay for a year, you get less, you get a big discount. Or if you haven't used it before, they usually give you a month free or 2 months at 50% off or something like that. And the MailChimp is very inexpensive. It's like $9 a month for 500, and it goes up as you grow your list. So for every, like, I think 1,000 or 2,000 contacts you add, it goes up, $5 or $10. So it really is very reasonable. And then the scheduler that I use, the scheduler is the way you can post to all of the sites at once with one post. And it's another lifesaver. And that starts at $39 a month. And then Canva, you can use the free version, and all of our templates are set up for you to use the free version. But if you have the pro version, it's well worth the money. You get all kinds of additional features and perks and ways to utilize Canva for so many things. Mailings, you can print stuff from there. You can do videos. You can use their AI, their advanced editing tools. There's a lot that you get for $120 a year. And this price has not gone up for many years, and they've added more and more AI and different things in there that are really, really helpful, and they haven't raised the price. So, fingers crossed that they won't. And then if you decide to stay on with the Mortgage Marketing Vault after your first year, you'll be locked in at the $97 a month or $970 for the year-end price. It will be, by that time, it'll probably be $197 a month, because you saw how much content is in there. I already have a full year of content and adding to it every month. And I'm sure you're wondering, if you get stuck somewhere along the line, will I be available? And of course, the answer is yes. We do have the Q&A for the first 6 weeks. And after that, I will be in and out of the Facebook community, so you can go there. You can also reach out to me anytime. I mean, I'm a one-woman shop with a couple of helpers, and I answer my emails, I answer my text messages. You can message me pretty much on any social platform, and I am here for you. I want you to be successful with this. So it's not like I'm just selling you something and then I'm ditching you after 6 weeks. So just so I had to say that. And again, mmmbootcamp.com is where you sign up. And then if you want to do the done for you option, Is there a contract? No, I don't require contracts. I think it's important for you to give it a chance to build some momentum. So I really highly recommend and request you give it a 6-month commitment. But we do only require 30 days notice to cancel. There's no contract. And do you have to be a graphic designer or technical? Absolutely not. Everything is pretty much ready to go for you inside the Mortgage Marketing Vault. There'll be some tech things that you have to set up at first. If you watch the step-by-step training, there shouldn't be a lot of questions. Just go step-by-step with everything. And you don't need to be technical or a graphic designer, and you can always hire someone to help you. Again, mmmbootcamp.com is where you sign up. And I think those are the questions that I anticipated. I'm going to look over here in the chat and see if anybody else has any additional questions. I am sending this out. As I mentioned before, I'll be sending out the video replay, and you should hopefully have that by end of day tomorrow, maybe sooner if I'm get my act together. So any questions you have, please put them in the chat, or if you want to make any comments or anything like that, we'll give it a minute and you can type your questions and I'm happy to answer any of them for you. You can also use the link to my calendar if you just want to talk about this. If you want to have a better understanding and get some one-on-one conversation, just go to meetwithclaudia.com and you can set up a time on my calendar. Thank you guys so much for attending. I really do appreciate you coming and listening to me. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. I'm hoping you can see me now. I appreciate you letting me share this with you. I hope you'll implement it. I hope you walk away with a plan. I hope to see you in the boot camp, and I really wish you all the success to grow your business and really kick off 2026. So thanks again for coming.